Another day in the NBA with only 2 games on the docket. We're still going to do what we always do here on this channel. We're just compare my projection to some industry leaders out there, like our friends at Stokastic. We'll look at their ownership as well. We'll hop to the world of Unabated, see what the best bets are according to the market-based data. We'll hop back to Stokastic, see what the best sim DFS lineups according to their data with no influence from me. By in this video, you'll know all the must plays and my splash plays for today's slate. Let's get into it because it's a 2-game slate. I think we've got a shot getting this done under a half hour. So dare to dream. Let's strap in. Let's get into it. Let's start with the highest projected players. Today, it's me. For me, it's Steph Curry. I have Steph Curry by 2.5 fantasy points higher than Stokastic, projected for 40.5 minutes. Curry went nuts last game for the Warriors, as he has historically. Court time without Wiggins, court time without Schroeder has always been a benefit for Curry. Gets himself up to about 31.5% usage, 28.5% assist rate, 1.4 fantasy points per minute. And now it's the playoffs, so the touch is consolidating for him for sure in a spot where Golden State would really like to win here to make this a 3-1 series. So for Golden State here, for Steph Curry here, your downside is Jimmy Butler's a Q tag. Seems like he's trending more towards playing than not. And in fact, if you guys are curious about the Q tags on the slate, we don't really have to review them as much on playoff slates lately. We do have Darius Garland as a Q tag, Jimmy Butler as a Q tag. Those are the main ones that we're watching out for right now. The assumption is Butler plays. He's currently in the projection set. I still have Curry projected very well here. So $9,500 for Curry. The guy who's closest to 50 fantasy points in projection for me is a Steph Curry day. 34% for the field. I got 35% in my top 150. So not really a big stand, but as a guy who's your highest projected player, according to my data, and in fact, looks like he's the highest projected guy according to Stokastic as well. He's going to come up a good amount, I think, no matter what. So a third of lineups, half your lineups, it all seems fair to me. Bam Adebayo at number 2, $8,700 salary for Bam Adebayo. Let me look at the popcorn machine here in another tab. Miami down 3-0, so they are playing literally to save their, well, not their careers, but to save their seasons. Played 40 minutes last game to Adebayo. That was with him not closing as well. In fact, barely left the court, left for 2 minutes. Left for less than 2 minutes in the first half. Left for 30 seconds in the second half, and then he was out at the end of the game. So Adebayo in a do-or-die spot, obviously, unless the Heat get smoked, and that's certainly a possibility. Heat today, 8.5-point dog at home. Not really a blowout number you're expecting based on the spread, but it is, potential sweep spot, so they can get blown out. But you're expecting Bam to play a lot of minutes. You're expecting Hero to play a lot of minutes as well, though, as you can see, he had a meaningful amount of time on the bench as opposed to Bam, who was out there basically every minute of last game. So for Bam Adebayo, he looks pretty good. Got him in 61% of my lineups, fields at 45%. And frankly, Stokastic's projection of 39.3 minutes, probably conservative, given that's an elimination game for them. He'll play every minute they possibly can, unless the game gets out of hand. At that point, Adebayo probably off the court. He'll take his curtain call, and that'll be the end of the Heat season. And more likely than not, it's probably the end of the Heat season, no matter what today. Sure, guys. Steven in chat. Shout out to all you guys watching live here. Of course, I know it is Best Ball Mania debut day. Drafters big tournament is out as well. I did a stream on that yesterday on the other Splash Play channel. So if you're enjoying football, it's more power to you. NBA still going on, though. MLB is 6-game slate as well for the main slate that I'll be covering for Stokastic. So we got a lot of sports to cover here, including the NFL right now for the gamblers out there. Alperen Sengun at number 3. So 30% exposure for Stokastic's ownership data. I'm getting him at 21% of my top 150. I've liked Sengun all year, but the total here not really supporting. I go to Houston so much. Only 203 combined points in this game today with Houston and Golden State. Houston implied for under 100 points, which I don't think has happened very often. Last time I can remember that offhand was when they played Orlando. It might have happened this series, and I just forgot. But Houston really normally a team that's getting at least triple digits in implied points for themselves. You're not getting that today. As a result, Sengun has to look a little bit less good. Sengun also projected for 34 minutes. We have a lot of guys in the slate projected for high 30s, like your Bams, like your Currys, like your Heroes. So Sengun getting less minutes, a little bit less of a total as well. Not as good of a play in terms of how that data should come together, but still 30% ownership projected by Stokastic. I got him in 21% of my top 150 lineups. No issue with Sengun, especially as a pivot to Bam Adebayo at a similar salary price tag, but Bam's going to play more minutes. Bam in an absolute do-or-die spot. Houston in a semi-do-or-die spot, not one to go down 3-1. I think Sengun here, just on paper, not as good of a play as Adebayo based on the projection. Tyler Hero. So he's on the thumbnail today. Another guy here who should be playing endless minutes, trying to keep the series from going away. What are the Heat really playing for? Like, even if they were to win this game, they're still going to lose the series, but I don't think it's Heat culture to throw in the towel entirely. So Hero and Adebayo, I think, should be core plays today. If you're not playing them, I would consider loading up on Cavs, playing maybe Mitchell if Garland is in, playing him, playing a Mobley, maybe not so much Jared Allen with that group, but like playing 2-3 Cavs, I think it'd be a logical thing to do because you have over 60% ownership for Adebayo, 63% for Hero. That's so much of the field that's going to be there. So the way you capture them not getting there would be the Cavs putting up a ton of points, running away early on, and then you have Adebayo and Hero being on the bench. I don't think it's the most likely outcome. I think this game should be competitive. So I want to play more Adebayo and Hero than not. But if you're not playing them, consider playing a few more Cavs because that's your way to get leverage against the outcome everybody's expecting, which is Hero and Adebayo playing a ton of minutes and being the reason that the Heat stay in this game before they get eliminated or not versus the Cavs. Evan Mobley. So Mobley did not help me out the last slate the Cavs were on. Played both weekend slates. So if you've been paying for my projections, you got some bonus there. I'm only doing the Monday to Friday, but over the weekend with no Alex and Luca here, just had a good time doing some gambling, I guess. Would say that for Mobley here, though, he wasn't the most impressive the last game for the Cavs. Didn't even hit his 5x value, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. Still, though, getting good enough minutes. With Adebayo playing a lot of minutes, you can certainly see Mobley up his a little bit more. Same thing for Jared Allen. But 8K salary for Mobley, you're getting kind of the appropriate price tag at this point. I got him in 38% of my top 150 lineups, so I'm not like mad at playing Mobley. But if I had him in less than the field, at the field's 28% expected ownership, really wouldn't care that much. I think Mobley's an okay play, but I don't think he's one to go into my way for unless I were trying to do that kind of blowout Cavs build. Donovan Mitchell, 35% for the field, 5% for me. Just not a great projection for me overall for Mitchell today, which has been the case for parts of the year. Mitchell, though, priced up a little bit for not having Garland in last game. Even though Mitchell did bust, he was owned enough that he's going to make the ownership come up a little bit for this slate. For Mitchell, though, at 8,500, I feel like the price tag's reasonable, maybe even a little bit cheap for him, but I'm not getting there projection-wise. It's only a 39.1 projection. Stokastic's at 41.6. Jimmy Butler, I'm also not really there. Same thing for me, another 39.1 projection for Jimmy Butler. Stokastic has been at 40.7. There's a lot of ownership going to Mitchell and Butler that I'm not getting, so getting more out of Bio, more Hero, I'm okay with that. But I think if I got less of those two Heat guys, I'd probably end up getting a little bit more of Mitchell and Butler at their price tags. That's a lot of ownership going Mitchell and Butler's way for them not being super well projected to me. So it's probably something I'll let ride and let be my kind of natural differentiation. I'll still probably force myself to get 20% Mitchell, 20% Butler, because it is a 2-game slate. You want to have a shot at capturing the highest upside guys if they do hit, 50 fantasy points, 60 fantasy points. But I don't think these guys are good plays projection-wise for me. So unless we get Garland out, for Mitchell's sake, for Butler, I don't know what would have to change for him. Maybe the total coming up a little bit higher. These guys probably won't be priority plays for me. Thompson's highly rated, and I don't know why. Not for me, but we'll see. I honestly, he's not even on the screen. I'm in Thompson getting 11% for me. Fields at 27. He's cheap at 7,100, so I get that. But he really hasn't had those outlier days like he had for that one stretch. He hasn't had those like months. So, but he's out there. I don't know. Darius Garland, if he plays, looks pretty good. 27% ownership in my top 150. Fields at 20. Fred VanVleet's the one that I struggle with the most. He actually probably should have been the thumbnail guy with me making a disgusted face. I don't love Fred VanVleet as a player. Haven't played him very much this entire season of DFS. That said, he's 6K. He's playing 40 minutes a game. They keep trotting him out there. He keeps getting usage as well. I can't see the box score. Rockets. You can't see the shooting results on Popcorn Machine, but I want to see how many shots VanVleet got up last game. Of course, this is not the full box score. Give me the full one. So I really do not remember what VanVleet shot over the weekend. All right. Game 3. VanVleet 5 for 14 again, so still getting up mid-teen shots. Jalen Green's usage went down a little bit. Şengün's and Amin Thompson's went up. They're all shooting terribly. Really a unimpressive series for the Rockets so far, even though they absolutely could be up 2-1, wouldn't be shocking. Main point for VanVleet, though, playing 41 minutes. Jalen Green playing just shy of 40. Şengün a little bit lower. Brooks a little bit lower. Amin Thompson pretty close to VanVleet and Green's minutes. They're playing enough minutes here that they're in the mix for sure, and VanVleet is just too cheap. So it's 6K. I'm going to play VanVleet. I have to be totally clear. I hate VanVleet as a player. I think he's just washed at this point. His true shooting on the year, where's that at? 51.5% true shooting. League average is around 54, 55. So like you're talking about, he's not good at the one thing he used to be good at as well. I guess he'll still aggressively defend as much as an older player can. VanVleet just is not my type of dude. So the fact I'm getting 77% of him, I think will speak for that enough then. I don't think he's a good player, but he's just way too cheap for the situation for a guy playing, 40 minutes. Jalen Green projected for 34.8 minutes. I don't know why his minutes are so low, and Van Vliet, Stokastic is giving 7 minutes extra to. Feels like that should be flattened out. Green should be projected, I think, for like 37.8. Van Vliet for more like 40.8. Either way, though, got a lot more Van Vliet than Jalen Green. I think if you got the projections or the minutes projections closer, maybe I would get more Jalen Green. We saw it happen when Van Vliet was chalk earlier in the series that Jalen Green went off, had the one outlier day. That could be the same case again here, maybe to get leverage against Van Vliet is to play more Jalen Green, but looks like the field's already going to be playing more Jalen Green. So unfortunately, I think Fred Van Vliet's the more appealing play. I got 77% Van Vliet, 19% Jalen Green. And Andrew Wiggins here, 29% for my top with 50 fields at 25. Not really a big stand there. Wiggins has been fine to me. I've played him a good amount as a Heat player. He's certainly a way where if he has an outlier day, maybe, and the Heat still stay in that game, maybe he's your way that you don't get Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero being there in a competitive 4 quarters of play. But Wiggins, I don't know. He's an okay guy to mix in. I really don't think he's like a guy that I'm going to plan my game theory kind of strategy around. Top value guys here, then we'll go game by game and see basically the same thing. This is only 2 games. We got Van Vliet, highest value guy here, 77% of him. Number 2 value guys, Brandon Podziemski. So would certainly look a little bit better for him if we didn't have Jimmy Butler in the game. Unfortunately, it does seem like it's not going to be the case today. Last game for Podziemski, coming off the fake illness that he had where he played and didn't play, then played. Put up 33 minutes last game, only 10 points and 8 peripherals. So not a bad day, not a great day either. Now you add Butler back in. He'll still probably play 30 minutes or so, but they won't be the best. The good news for him is that he's not going to get stripped like Buddy Hield by Steven Adams, defending him one-on-one, which is one of the more embarrassing plays to float around social media this weekend. Podziemski's still a viable play. He still does things that help out the Warriors, so he'll get the minutes. It's just, what does he do when he's out there? That's sort of the concern. There aren't a lot of guys at that price tag who look good, so Podziemski coming into 77% of my lineups, feels at 38. We talked about Hero already, getting 63% of him in my top with 50 fields at 41. Steph Curry with the field on him a little bit higher. I think when I actually get to my final lineups here, Curry will probably be like a 50%, if not more play for me, maybe 60 to 70. Just depends how the slate looks when we get to lock. Adebayo, 61% for me, fields at 45. These guys still top values to me, despite being so highly priced. Jaron Allen's been a good value for games as well. He's 53% in my top 150 right now. Stokastic has him at 32% owned. Ty Jerome would look a lot better if Darius Garland weren't in. That said, he's been playing well enough all series. He can get there. The 5K salary, though, not really priced for a ton of upside as it is. Garland looks good if he's in. 7K salary seems a little bit high, though, given how some of these other guys are a little bit more softly priced. But still got Garland at 27% in the field to 20. DeAndre Hunter, $4,300 salary, another value play here. He's not in the mix enough to fully trust, I think, like where you want to have him in all your lineups. He played 28 minutes last game. Granted, that was a game with no Garland, so that's something where that could come down a little bit pretty safely. But Stokastic has him for 24 minutes. He'll be in there. If the Heat are playing well, they need some more defense. Hunter can be out there. He can knock down some corner threes, grab a few rebounds, all that. Hunter, not a bad play to me at 4,300. Got him in 39% of my lineups in the fields at 23%. Evan Mobley, we talked about already. Şengün, we talked about already as well. Not a lot of values here. You can see I'm sorting my value. Only 9 guys I have over as 5x value on the slate. It's obviously only 2 games as well, but it's a little bit of a tougher pricing situation than it was certainly a couple days ago where some of the other slates, everybody was underpriced. We're now not really in that kind of spot. Hey, Spags, what jersey will Giannis be wearing next year? Thunder would be the most logical. There's a lot tying him to Brooklyn, though. I think those 2 would be my front runners. But I don't know what the betting markets are. But it's sad for him, though. Like, I mean, Lillard tearing his Achilles is just really shitty run out there. I thought they had a shot to make a run if Lillard was healthy because they were playing pretty well when those guys were going full bore a couple months ago. So I feel bad for them, but, I feel bad for Milwaukee as well. Giannis, maybe the one guy in the league who won't immediately force his way out, but it does feel like the rubbers may be meeting the road there. So I'd go Thunder or Nets. Game by game look here, then we'll hit unabated, run a DFS sim. Still a faint chance of getting done in 30 minutes. So show some love if you can. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Again, I'm just one dude here showing you my gambling and my approach here. I prepare my data every day, and I play all the lineups that I play off of my data. So that's really what I'm doing for myself every day. It's honestly been a really nice playoff run this weekend. Should have been better. I had a hot Friday, and I was like, you know what? I'll play Saturday and Sunday too. And it was just trade and paint for the most part, those 2 slates. But today, I don't know. I feel good things about a 2-game slate with how my projection's been running. So we'll see how we do today. But do show some love. Subscribe to the like button here. No matter what, I'm going to show up and do the work for you guys the rest of the NBA playoffs. Check out Unabated too. I'll show you guys their top betting options right now, according to their market-based data coming up. They also have their conditional projections still going. They've won people about $65,000 if you placed all their bets with a 5% or higher ROI 30 minutes before tip-off. So if you want to get in good for betting, you still can do that with Unabated. 20% off, link down below. And Stokastic, 15% off all their sims, all their data here. The stuff you see me showing you on screen, other things as well for MLB, for PGA, for NASCAR, whatever you want out there. You get some data for 15% off. And that's in perpetuity too. So it's one of the best deals they have. And I get half the money you pay to Stokastic. So real win-win for all of us here. We get this one, me versus big corporations. Who do you want to support, right? Don't support the corporations. No, support Stokastic, but then also support me. It's like giving a hobo money while you also buy something from a large company. We got Cleveland. I don't want to be the hobo, though. Cleveland, 110 implied points, but I am the hobo. 110 implied points for the Cavs here. We've talked a lot about them already. If Garland is out, I'll get more Mitchell as it is right now. Mitchell, one of my biggest anti-stands on the slate. Only 5% for me. Fields at 35. Mobley looks okay. Again, not a player I'm crazy to get, but frankly, I feel like he should have had a better game last time out. He didn't quite get there. Maybe he does today. Garland, if he's in, looks like a nice value at 7K. Not quite as good of a value as he was some of the earlier playoff slates. Jared Allen, 53%, Fields at 32. He is still pretty cheap as well. Another player that's going to easily come into lineups. I question the ceiling for sure, especially with Mobley. And if Mobley does have an outlier outcome, it's going to hurt Jared Allen's potential to hit his ceiling. But I think Jared Allen in play strongly because of that cheap price tag. Ty Jerome, still a meaningful play here, 39% for me, Fields at 25. I've, of course, been one of the biggest Ty Jerome fans throughout the year, have gotten him right in a lot of slates, have really not. I feel like Ty Jerome is one guy that really hasn't fucked me, where there's been a slate where I've been like, oh, Ty Jerome. Even the other day when he's filling in for Garland, I was like, he's pretty much a lock, and he was a lock. I like Ty Jerome a lot. When you have Garland and Mitchell in, though, in a series that could get out of hand, like Ty Jerome could play 15 minutes in this game, and then the Heat are getting smoked. They just call him off, and like he's not the one playing out there. It's Craig Porter Jr., some other assholes. That's my risk point for Ty Jerome at a 5K salary. He's just priced up a little bit too much in a situation where he could easily play the lower band of minutes. He could be a part of a blowout, but he could also easily play the lower band of minutes. Max Strus, always a little bit low on him. He's played pretty well the last time out without Garland. That said, 4,400 with Garland back in, not quite as much of a play to me as the field. Field project for 31%. I got 26. And DeAndre Hunter at 4,300, decent value here. Would look better if Garland were out as well. If Garland's out, everybody here is going to look appreciably better. They're already pretty chalky. I'd feel a lot better about being with the Fields ownership or above it on most of these guys. So watch out for Garland's status. They could certainly rest him because they don't need him. I mean, they could win this game without him, or they could just lose this game and have him back healthy in another couple days. So really not a lot of reason to play Garland if they don't want to play him. The Garland talked a lot of shit about Tyler Hero, so he might play and try to do something tonight. Miami, 101.5 implied points. Not a great total here as well. Really a slate full of not great totals, which we have to get used to the deeper we get into the playoffs. Bam Adebayo, 61% for me, Fields at 45. Hero, 63% for me, Fields at 41. If the game's competitive, these guys should play 40 minutes, if not for Bam Adebayo. Based on what he played last game, getting to 45 minutes would not be crazy here. Should be out there almost the entire game. So if you're not playing these guys, consider blowouts where the Cavs are smoking them, run away with it. A lot of offensively minded Cavs players on the other side, and then you fade Adebayo and Hero. It's one way to do it. But I do think for Adebayo and Hero, worth the ownership here because they're in an elimination game. They're going to play as many minutes as they can possibly handle as long as the game's competitive. Andrew Wiggins, a little bit less likely to get to the same minutes ceiling overall. He played last game 33 minutes. That does include the non-blowout time, but he was about 3.5 behind Hero, 7 minutes behind Bam Adebayo. Think that he can get you to 35 to 38 minutes if the game's competitive and they don't get smoked. So don't mind Wiggins. Think you can play him with Hero and Adebayo as well. These guys are just the most likely to play the most minutes on the slate. So that's really the main thing it comes down to. And Davion Mitchell, I don't get very much of when everybody else is in. He's had some decent games this series, but the rates don't really back out going there. He did play 37 minutes last game, so played the exact same amount as Tyler Hero, and that's including the game getting out of hand late, so could have played 40, maybe even 41, 42. Davion Mitchell, I get the play here. I just think that's a lot of Davion Mitchell ownership with 33% for me, and I'm a Davion Mitchell guy, but not when you have a bunch of healthy players. Houston on their side, we've talked about it, basically a flat fade for me besides Van Vliet. I'm low on Şengün, lower on Thompson, low on Jalen Green. Very high on Van Vliet at a 6K salary. Low on Dylan Brooks, a little bit low. I mean, basically flat on Tari Eason. Low on Jabari Smith, a little bit low on Steven Adams, your value play that's seemingly getting a few more minutes that he should. Does play the occasional minute alongside Şengün as well. Houston, I hate the total today. 99.5 implied points, not good. Golden State seemingly just contesting their shots well enough that nobody's shooting well in the team in any game besides the one game where Jalen Green went off. I think they're probably due for a better day here, but the ownership's already there. These guys don't project that well. I think Van Vliet's the one option I feel pretty comfortable with. Everybody else I'll get some amount of here, but these are all under 5x values for me. So Van Vliet's really the only one I would say I trust, even though I don't trust him very much. This 0.86 fantasy points a minute on the year. Golden State likes Steph Curry a lot here. I'm surprised I only got 35% of my top 150 with him. Fading Jimmy Butler, only 13%. The field's at 43. If Butler's in, he's certainly a valid play, but if he's going to be 43% owned, I'd rather have Steph Curry and pay up to get there. Draymond Green, 18% for me. Fields at 25%. Podziemski, your value play at 5,500 would look a lot better if Butler were to somehow miss. He is a Q tag, but all the reports say he's going to go. Look, I think you're going to get Podziemski a good amount here. Maybe not as much as I got with 77%, but he's an okay value. Moody, an okay value. It's a tier below Podziemski, I would say. Gary Payton, an okay value. It's a tier below Moody and 2 tiers below Podziemski. Getting some of these guys in the mix feels appropriate. But Curry, to me, is the one you want. He did go nuts last game, though, so if you're going to really key in on him on this spot, make an injured Jimmy Butler beat you, that would be sort of a logical basketball way to handle it. But I like the projection for Curry a good amount here, and I do not like the projection for Jimmy Butler quite as much. That's our game-by-game view, guys. Now the stage of things, we're going to Unabated. We got 9 minutes before we hit that half-hour mark, so we're live. We're live. I would take the over still on over me going over 30 minutes for the video, but we got a shot. All right, let's log in here for Unabated, and I'll switch you guys over. This is close, though. This is the closest I've been yet. I need every NBA slate to be a 2-game slate, and then I can put up half-hour videos. Be crushing it. All right, let's load. Unabated, fucking dragging its ass to hit the over. See what we can do. Of course, what we're doing Unabated, though, is not the conditional projections that we did all regular season. Those come out at 4:30 p.m. every day. I guess today they might come out at 2:30 for some reason. Either way, we're using the market-based data here. So basically an average, a weighted average based upon the sports books that perform the best and have the best lines. Unabated then gives you that and then compares it to the lines we can get at our top sports books and pick'em sites. So that's going to be a difference here. You get a higher ROIs. The conditional projections that Unabated had, because that's premium data, not market-based ones that all the sports books can look at themselves. But the market-based projections are pretty good for every sport. Similar concept that OddsShopper uses as well. Pick your poison with what you want to use there. But Unabated, they've been a good sponsor here all year, so we'll keep showing their product throughout the playoffs. Let's see what we got here. We got some bets, some points bets here. And it will be bets from the next few days as well. So if you have any high EVs from the upcoming games, we'll hit those too here. All right. Who has a good distracting question to drop? No. No, I got 7 minutes. Rudy Gobert. I mean, I have more time, but I would like to want to hit one goal. Can I hit one goal in life? Rudy Gobert, EV on both sides here. Over 6.5 points on FanDuel, looking pretty good. Minutes for Gobert have been pretty not great lately. A 6.7% EV for Gobert on over 6.5. If you go to DraftKings, you could also take under 7.5 at plus 110. Tough needle to thread to take both bets. I would take the over 6.5 at FanDuel first because it's got a higher EV. But they're both playable here for Rudy Gobert. Over 6.5 points on FanDuel and under 7.5 points on DraftKings at plus money looks pretty good. Darius Garland, minus 106 odds on FanDuel gets you 3.1% EV. Because we're dealing with market-based numbers, again, you could take a 2% or higher EV. You could even do 1% if you really want good bets. For sim numbers, you want a 5% or higher EV. But here with Darius Garland, 3.1% EV, one of our best bets, according to market-based data, minus 106 odds on FanDuel. Nas Reed over 10.5 points, minus 110 odds on DraftKings gets you 2.5% EV for Nas Reed over 10.5 points at minus 110 odds on DraftKings. Kristaps Porzingis over 15.5 points. That game's coming up tomorrow. We got Porzingis over 15.5 points, minus 130 odds on DraftKings gets you 2.3% EV. Tim Hardaway Jr. in a game coming up tomorrow as well, 2.3% EV for over 11.5 points. That one's on Underdog if you want to get bled by Pick'ems on there. Donovan Mitchell under 25.5 points, minus 105 odds on DraftKings. Gets you 2.3% EV for Donovan Mitchell's under today, despite a potential series closing win coming up for Cleveland. And Andrew Nembhard over 11.5 points, minus 112 odds on FanDuel. Gets you 2.1% EV for that game versus Milwaukee coming up tomorrow night. Rebounds next. There's a lot more bets than I would have thought. No huge market lines here today. Surprising. Yeah, I mean, honestly, pretty soft lines overall. You usually don't see that much market-based EV when you have games that have been, like people know the deal for a few days. It's kind of like the NFL is what I've been observing with it. I might have mentioned on stream before, but like because NBA series have a few days to price up, same thing with the NCAA tournament, you end up with really efficient markets for the most part because the sports books have a couple days to get their lines right and they know the matchups in advance. But it seems like for whatever reason, some of the props a little bit softer today. Kyle Kuzma coming up in tomorrow's game versus Indiana. Over 2.5 rebounds for him, 7.3% EV. A lot of juice at minus 182 odds on FanDuel, but that is one of the best bets we'll have today with 7.3% EV for Kyle Kuzma for 2.5 rebounds. Naz Reid over 5.5 rebounds coming up in a couple days, plus 128 odds on FanDuel. It's so weird it's how to bet coming up in 2 days, but plus 128 odds on FanDuel. That EV will be gone at some point. If you try to take it tomorrow, it's probably gone. And Kevin Porter Jr. over, I mean, that's sure. Damian Lillard's dead, so sure. Sis coming up next. Shout out Fish to Live Poop here. Finally caught a live show. Glad to hear it. Glad to have you guys here. Of course, tried to make sure these videos have a little more evergreen life now that we don't have to be doing the videos at 4 o'clock every day to line with Unabated's projections coming out. So hope it adds some value to you guys. And again, if you appreciate this content, do make sure to hit the like button, subscribe. Competing against a lot of stuff right now with MLB going on, NBA, of course, only having a 2-game slate, and the basketball tournament's all coming out. But your guys' support does go a long way here for me. And of course, join the Discord too. Join the channel. $5 to join. You guys know the deal. If you want my projections and all the data I show you on screen, join one of the higher price tiers. You can get that for yourself as well. All right, we got Davion Mitchell here under 6.5 assists. That is a high line for Davion Mitchell. 6.5 assists for Davion Mitchell, 4.4% EV for minus 105 odds on DraftKings for Mitchell under 6.5 assists. And that's Davion, not Donovan, which honestly, Donovan Mitchell having a 6.5 assist line I would get. What is Donovan Mitchell's line? Donovan Mitchell's assist line is lower than Davion? That's crazy. All right. Shout out Davion Mitchell. Bam Adebayo over 3.5 assists, minus 125 odds on DraftKings. It's a 2.4% EV. That's pretty good. The rest of these I probably wouldn't take. So your only assist bets are for an under on Davion Mitchell and an over for Bam Adebayo. And last but not least, PRAs. We are getting really close to that half-hour line. I don't think I'm going to make it. Gotta let the math do its work, though. We can't rush great data. It's what I always say. It's a t-shirt I usually wear. The mug I have for myself. All right. Really only one bet we really like here for Porzingis coming up tomorrow. Over 24.5 PRAs for the Zinger. Minus 110 odds on DraftKings Sportsbook gets you 4.1% EV. You can take the Savika Zubac line tomorrow as well. Over 32.5 PRAs. Minus 105 odds on DraftKings gets you 1.8% EV. Mikal Bridges under 23.5 PRAs on DraftKings at minus 115 odds. It's playable. Really not the most exciting lines here. Draymond Green under 21.5 PRAs just got updated. That looks like a great bet, actually. Green under 21.5 PRAs. Minus 125 odds on DraftKings gets you 8.6% EV. That line will not stick for very long. I would grab that immediately. All right, last stage in the process, guys. Faint shot still getting done on under a half hour, though. Again, we're going to be close. We're going to be close enough here. It's not a full win, partial win. Maybe when we get to showdown slates, I'll be able to do it under a half hour. We're going to go to Stokastic next, do a DFS sim here and see what the best lineups are according to Stokastic's data. Of course, you saw what my lineups or what my projections look like overlaid in a Stokastic sim before. Now to see what Stokastic has with no influence for me. So check them out. And of course, if you want to see updated data from Stokastic throughout the night, go check it out for yourself. Get 15% off all the Stokastic data and Sims tools and lineup generator stuff, the cheap stuff, the expensive stuff. It's all 15% off on Stokastic if you use that promo code SPLASH or click the link in the description right now. And here we go. And Unabated, which you just saw, 20% off, link down below. Monthly packages on there. Rest of the NBA season package you could do, but that's probably just do a monthly one would be my suggestion if you're going to do Unabated. But check it out, 20% off, link down below. And great tools. The market-based stuff in particular still works for baseball, still works for other sports as well. If you're not just only betting on NBA out there. All right. Actually, while this is loading, one more quick plug. Drafters, if you are trying to play some NFL best ball right now, Drafters presenting the NFL channel here, the @Splash Play Pod channel for me all summer long. So check them out. Get a $100 deposit match on Drafters and play along with me on there. I'll be doing a lot of Drafters drafts this summer. I'm going to be maxing out the big tournament on there. So there's gambling to be had. It's got a certain point we're going to lose NBA, but we'll still have MLB. We'll still have NFL best ball. And that's probably when second NBA season ends will be when we transition this channel for MLB for the summer. So lots to come up, guys. I got to prep MLB, though, after this video for today's Stokastic stream. That's coming up at 5:30 if you want to hang out with me and do some MLB betting. $5 tournament on DraftKings today for MLB as well. So good day to get in 10 entries, 20 entries if you're feeling frisky. Baseball's tough, though. Baseball drives me fucking nuts. I've picked home runs on our Stokastic streams for a week now, or actually a couple weeks now. And every time I've picked a home run, the batter either in front of the guy in the order or behind the guy in the order has hit home run. This is like not a bit. It's driving me fucking nuts. I keep missing my home run pick while the other guys around him in the stack go off. It's really upsetting. So tune in today if you want to see what I get wrong that maybe you can profit off of. Baseball's so damn tough. That is true. We got Tyler Hero, Donovan Mitchell, Max Strus, DeAndre Hunter, number one ROI lineup according to Stokastic. Jared Allen, Davion Mitchell, Nikola Jovic in this lineup. He is back in the rotation, and Steph Curry. Jovic is not playing enough minutes for me to feel comfortable with. That said, he did play 15. Actually, no. Played 19 last game, including the blowout. So he was one of the last guys they brought in there. They could go to him out of desperation. I don't know about that, though. Jovic in the top lineup for Stokastic. Number 2, they have Ty Jerome, Max Strus, Tari Eason, Bam Adebayo, Jared Allen, Steph Curry, Evan Mobley, and Steven Adams. And number 3, Ty Jerome again, Moses Moody, Tari Eason, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo, and Van Vliet. I mean, this is it. These are your value guys. Allen, Hero, Adebayo, Van Vliet. I feel like they make it into more lineups than not based on the projections. Number 4, you have Steph Curry, Donovan Mitchell, Max Strus, Bam Adebayo, Jared Allen, Pajemski, Jovic, Steven Adams. The Jovic part I'm still not cool with. Strus I'm also not great with if Garland is in, but lineup makes sense enough. And number 5, you have Van Vliet, Max Strus, Jimmy Butler, Nikola Jovic again, Jared Allen, Moses Moody, Bam Adebayo, Alperen Şengün. So looks like Stokastic going to put people on making some bets against or in favor of Jovic in a way that I'm surprised by. God has a plan. Sure he does. Not regular season NBA tough yet, it seems. I mean, I think MLB is tougher than regular season NBA. I mean, I obviously I'm pretty cool with my NBA results in general. And when I have my own data for it, I'm even cooler with whatever the outcome is. But I don't know. Baseball just has always broken my brain because I'll get things right, but I won't get it enough right. Whereas for NBA, it's like, cool. Like, what do I need to know? I need to know Steph Curry might be a good play today. I don't know. For baseball, it's like you never really you get absorbed a lot by the 9-hitter. Like even that day where Cincinnati put up 24 runs, like the 8 and 9 hitters put up 40 fantasy points that everybody else didn't. That's what drives me nuts about baseball. But people who are the best bettors in the world, best DFS players in the world have won the most money playing MLB. So clearly it's something broken with my brain when it comes to making lineups. Player probably gets too contrarian and don't follow projections enough would be my guess. Anyway, your top ROI players according to Stokastic data right now and their top 150 lineups. Negative 5% ROI for Steven Adams. Brandon Pajemski, negative 6% ROI is at number 2. Number 3 is DeAndre Hunter. Number 4 is Jared Allen. So frankly, weird top 4 here. Not real star players. Max Strus at number 5. Again, another not star. Mobley, at least legit player at 8K. He's got a negative 8% ROI. He's your number 6 highest ROI guy. And Moses Moody, negative 9% ROI. So Adams, Pajemski, Hunter, Allen, Strus, Mobley, Moody. Those are your top ROI players according to Stokastic in that order. PGA and MMA are hands down the toughest DFS. My highest ROI, I think, in all of DFS is MMA because I won 2 tournaments during the pandemic and played like 2 months worth. So I like MMA a lot. But it's tough, it's not my expertise. I was also during the pandemic, I was watching like weigh-ins and shit and trying to get a read on that. I don't know if that actually added value, but I have an MMA data sheet that I used to use. I like MMA, but MMA is tough when they had late swapping because then the people can pivot around you and like the sharpest players will kill you every time if you have like late swap opportunities in a 1v1 kind of situations. With ownership also being known throughout the night. That's a tough game you can't win, I don't think. Anyway, your top exposed players according to Stokastic's top 150 lineups. Brandon Pajemski, 65% fields at 38. So 26% more than the field on Brandon Pajemski. I agree. I think he's at a good price tag for a guy playing minutes. Really, Pajemski and Van Vliet are your 2 like I don't know how much they're going to produce, but they're going to play a lot of minutes, all-stars on the slate. Hero and Adebayo, they're going to play a lot of minutes, but I know they're going to at least do something out there theoretically. Pajemski and Van Vliet, we'll see. Jared Allen at number 2, 57% exposure, fields at 33. Tyler Hero, 56% exposure, fields at 41. Evan Mobley, 49% exposure, fields at 28. So big stand there for Mobley. Bam Adebayo, not a big stand, but still more than the field. 49% Mobley and Stokastic's top 150. Excuse me, for Adebayo. 49% Adebayo, 44% for the field of Bam Adebayo. Max Strus, 47%. Compared to 29% exposure. So pretty big stand in favor of Max Strus here, which I really don't get as much with Garland in. But DeAndre Hunter, 46% as well, fields at 25. So really secondary Cleveland pieces, not Mitchell, not Garland. You're getting a lot of all the other Cavs. So Stokastic really seemingly pushing you in a direction. Where are you giving Donovan Mitchell? Donovan Mitchell still getting 35% of. Garland getting 20% of. Or no, actually, no. Never mind. 3% Garland. So big fade on Garland. But they like Mitchell enough still as well. All right. So Stokastic just loves Cleveland as long as they're not named Darius Garland. Highest leverage guys, according to Stokastic's top 150. Pajemski, Jared Allen, DeAndre Hunter, 21% more in the field. Evan Mobley, 20% more. Max Strus, 18% more in the field. Tyler Hero, 15% more in the field. And Steven Adams, 12% more in the field. Most negative leverage guys, Amin Thompson, only 6% being played in Stokastic's top 150. That's negative 21% leverage. Andrew Wiggins, not Aaron Wiggins. Negative 19% leverage for Andrew Wiggins here. So they are playing Hero. They are playing Bam a good amount. They are not playing Andrew Wiggins quite so much. Darius Garland, hard fade here. Only 3% of Darius Garland. Surprised to see that. Jimmy Butler, 27% compared to the field's 43. So pretty big anti-Jimmy Butler stand. Even though if you're getting 27%, you're not really full fading him at that point. Jalen Green, half the field's exposure, only 14% for Stokastic, compared to 29% the projected ownership. Jabari Smith, 4%, fields at 19. That's fine by me. And Haywood Highsmith, not really playing him at all, but the field's at 10%. Sure. Really weird slate. Weird lineups, weird slate. Where's Steph Curry at? Curry, they're playing 33%, fields at 34. Not really a big stand there. Anybody else? Saw Butler, saw Mitchell. Those are all your key guys. I'm going to give you guys my splash plays for the day in a moment. We're going to do one last run here through all the whoring. Please subscribe down below, hit the like button, leave a comment. Again, I'm just one dude here showing you my gambling, my data in advance of slates, along with some of the best tools out there in the hopes that you can make your own decisions and build good lineups. No matter what here, I show up and do the work as best I can. So, and I come in prepared, come in with my own data, good to go every single day. So please show some love, subscribe down below, hit the like button, leave a comment, and join down below as well if you want to get access to all the data I show you on screen, the stats, along with my actual projections. You get that by joining for $5. Just join one of the higher dollar tiers or just join the $5 tier to support the show here and the content I do. Stokastic, 15% off all the sims, all the data, get that as well. And Unabated, all the betting tools that we just showed you here, along with the conditional NBA projections. Get those for 20% off if you click the link down below for Unabated. My splash plays for the day. I think for me, unfortunately, has to be Fred VanVleet. I think has to be one of them. He's just too cheap for a guy playing 40 minutes. He might suck today. I think the more that we go through the video, I think he's in that spot that we talked about a few times over the last week or so, that Asar Thompson spot, that Al Horford spot, where he's going to be in a lot of lineups. I think more than 28% that the Stokastic ownership has. I think he's going to be in a lot of lineups. He's a value guy who's not really a true value guy, but I think he makes a winning lineup even if he puts up like 25 points. I think VanVleet's a good play today. I think he'll work well for a lot of lineups, so I'll die on that hill. Besides him, Pajemski, another guy I have a ton of exposure to. He's a splash play. Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo, they're going to play 40 minutes as long as that game is even remotely competitive. Might get to 45 minutes if things are competitive down to the last minute there. So Adebayo and Hero strongly in the mix. Jared Allen, I think, still a splash play for me. Steph Curry is a pay-up option, splash play for me. But the core guys, I think right now are going to be VanVleet, Pajemski, Hero, Adebayo, Jared Allen to a lesser extent. It's going to be a lot of my lineups. So I hope that does a good job for you guys. Appreciate the kind chats as well. Appreciate all you guys hanging out here. Make sure to gamble responsibly, guys, especially this time of year in the NBA. Even it's always money time on this channel. Follow me at Chris Spags. Follow this channel at Splash Play Bets. Of course, more NBA playoff content coming, and eventually more MLB content coming on this channel. And I'll be on Stokastic for MLB today at 5:30 Eastern. So come hang out there if you want to get my best ball takes once I figure them out after the stream. So I'll see you guys there. Enjoy your days and good luck. And bye-bye, guys.